Up next on the Frenchie podcast, we've got a special treat for you guys. We're going to be focusing on the Cajuns of World War II who served in the U.S. Navy, and there were many of them. We're going to have the opportunity to focus on a few of them. I've got Mr. Warren Perrin right here from the Acadian Museum, one of the partners in the Frenchie podcast, and Warren's going to tell us a little bit about some of those really important Cajuns in the Navy in World War II.
I suppose that when most people think about World War II veterans, they seem to think about the Normandy invasion and crossing Europe, pushing the German army back to Berlin. But another important part were those local boys, Cajuns, who served in the United States Navy. The two that come to mind that I knew the best was my uncle, Jonas Perrin, locally known as Man, because he was such a big man. And he was on a ship that was in a major battle in the South Pacific, and his ship was sunk by torpedoes, so they had to abandon ship, and he has some very interesting stories about those episodes. The other man who comes to mind is Mr. Willis Granger. Mr. Granger was drafted into the Navy not being able to speak a word of English. He had never heard English spoken. And I asked him, well, how did you know what to do? And he said, I basically watched the others and tried to memorize what I heard. And he served with great distinction on a ship which hosted as its commanding officer the Secretary of the Navy. And it's on that ship that the Normandy invasion on D-Day was planned and actually carried out. The directions to all the armed forces came from the ship that Mr. Granger was on. And I asked him, was he involved in any major battles of any kind? And he said, no. I said, well, did you meet any famous people while you were on board? He said, yeah, I met King George VI of England and President Roosevelt. In fact, his ship brought Roosevelt to meet with Churchill and Stalin in one of the Potsdam conferences.